So today is a rest day. July 31st, 2025, we will not see ourselves any games at the World Junior Summer Showcase. Now, I haven't really been doing too much watching of the tournament itself outside of a few clips, but I have seen some of the more notable conversation points that folks have been bringing up in regards to the WJSS of 2025. And while it's true we're going to have ourselves some practices for all of the teams over here, Sweden, USA, Canada, and Finland. Actually, no, not all the teams. There's just a Canada team instead of a Canada White and a Canada Red today. We will have ourselves no games, which gives us some breathing room to talk about some guys that have been performing very well. In particular, I wanted to focus on the Montreal Canadiens and the New York Islanders, and what some of these prospects had to say about each other that definitely will be getting either of these fan bases hyped up. Before we dive into the Habs and the Isles, though, let's go over the WJSS stats and results page, just taking a look at who has produced the most points so far. Interestingly enough, we have ourselves a Vancouver Canucks prospect, Wilson Bjork, who's gone out there and done some very good work. We might have to make a video about him later in today's show. We'll see. But James Hagens is over here, first overall in the tournament with 5 points in 3 games, tied alongside of Riker Lee. Hagens, of course, was a Boston Bruins draftee. Meanwhile, Riker Lee was a Nashville Predators guy. You have Atos Koivu here at the 4th overall spot, tied in points with Wilson Bjork and Cullen Potter. Koivu, of course, is a Canadiens prospect. Cullen Potter is a Flame. But then you have yourselves Michael Hage, who, in 2 games on the tournament so far, has 3 points. If you sort the tournament by points per game, you will see that Hage is one of the top dogs because he's only had 2 games played. But he's got 2 goals and 1 assist in these 2 games for Canada Red and Canada. And I wanted to focus a little bit on Michael Hage and what he has done so far in the tournament. Yes, it's true, we can talk about Hage and Atos Koivu getting into it, shoving each other around, and potentially getting on the verge of some fisticuffs action, but I kind of don't really want to talk about that. They almost fought. It was a really game-centered type of conflict. They're buddies, they're friends. But ultimately, we have ourselves some really good stuff going on for Michael Hage. Like this. This is what Scott Wheeler tweeted out before yesterday's Canada-Finland game, the same game where Michael Hage ended up getting into it with Atos Koivu, but you saw Hage as the right wing on the second line, alongside of Caden Lindstrom and Michael Misa. That is a total behemoth of a human being in Caden Lindstrom, who, by the way, has finally started playing hockey again. He took the entire year last season to recover from injury before returning to his Medicine Hat Tigers in the playoffs and the Memorial Cup. And you also have Michael Misa, who is an exceptional status player. He is very, very good. He is going to be a stud in the NHL, and I think a lot of folks are going to be paying attention to him over the next little while. Michael Hage had some really good moments alongside of Lindstrom and Misa. Now, we can't go out there and get the clips, but you could go out there and see over here, okay, yeah, you have some power play notes, you have Atos Koivu notes, you have Michael Hage with a pretty goal, Cole Reshny and Sam Dickinson getting the assists. This is all we're seeing here out of Scott Wheeler, but there were some other clips posted around of Michael Hage and his World Junior Summer Showcase dominance. There were some plays where he was finding himself in front with the puck on his stick, beating goaltenders and getting points. You also had yourself some passes and some very good playmaking ability put on display here from Hage. Look at that pass across, and then the backdoor feed for Marek Vanacker. But Michael Hage also had some commentary throughout this World Junior Summer Showcase about one of his teammates on Team Canada. If we go back over to Scott Wheeler, we will see that the number one left-handed defenseman for Team Canada in yesterday's Finnish game was Matthew Schaefer of the New York Islanders. And we had ourselves some comments from Schaefer himself about how getting back onto the ice is one of the best feelings in a while. In fact, this was expanded upon even more on an article on rds.ca. Now, we're using the RDS article because this is from a French, Montreal-based point of view. The article is translated from French, so some of the quotes are a little bit off in terms of the actual words, but the message is still the same. This article, which will be linked in the description, goes over how Matthew Schaefer is in heaven and how Michael Hage is impressed. Let's go out there and read here. Matthew Schaefer completed a major step towards his first NHL training camp on Tuesday. He played a game. The first overall pick in 2025 played in a red versus white game during Hockey Canada's summer camp ahead of the World Juniors, his first game since breaking his collarbone last December. Although the friendly competition wasn't exactly the level he'll face at New York Islanders camp, Schaefer was happy to be able to play in a game. Probably one of the best feelings in a long time. It's so good to get back into it mentally and be able to compete with a talented group. I felt good. Obviously, it was a lot of emotions because I didn't know how I was going to feel. It was amazing. I hadn't played a game in a long time, so you never know what to expect. But when you're out there, you can take control of the game, and you do what you love. It's so fun. Just being in contact again. We're playing for that. There were some comments made by, for example, Carter George, goaltender for Team Canada. Seeing Schaefer back in a game situation was great to see. He's a special player and an even better person. It's amazing to play with him. George is an LA Kings prospect. Now, if we scroll down, this is where we see the comments made by Michael Hage, Montreal Canadiens prospect and the recent subject of today's video commentary. Michael Hage is no stranger to shoulder injuries, having missed most of 22-23 with a torn shoulder. The Montreal Canadiens prospect skated with Schaefer on Tuesday and was impressed by the D-man. Everyone knows what type of player he is. I have a lot of respect for guys coming back from shoulder injuries, Hage said. I came back from a shoulder injury my freshman year in junior college, so I understand how tough it is, not just physically, but mentally. I was very impressed. Despite limited action last season, Schaefer was named one of the CHL's top prospects, he was named the CHL top prospect and was drafted first overall. The Ontario native has ambitious goals and wants to be the latest first overall pick to jump straight to the NHL. I want to be in the lineup for the first game of the season, and there are still things I need to work on in the gym and on the ice. I think I need to get stronger, Schaefer said to TSN Radio 1050 in mid-July. Now, this is nice, right? Matthew Schaefer's going out there doing his thing. Michael Hage is looking really good during this tournament. I will say that the injury that Michael Hage ended up sustaining for his 22-23 campaign was quite noteworthy because it was before his draft season. This was cut short in 22-23. 13 games played with the Chicago Seal, 10 points, so very good. He ended up getting 75 points in 54 games in his draft-eligible season, so he absolutely exploded, did not miss a step, and then took some very big strides in the NCAA as a Michigan Wolverine the season after. Michael Hage is looking like a top 6 center in the making for the Montreal Canadiens. Meanwhile, Matthew Schaefer, if we expect a similar sort of progression from injured year to the next season, hopefully this guy is able to make an impact with the New York Islanders right away. If he goes all Rasmus Dahlin on the Isles and puts together a very good Calder-worthy season, then that would be fantastic. Might I remind you, though, Dahlin did not win the Calder. That was Elias Pettersson's Calder in the 2018-19 season, thank you very much. We'll see if Schaefer ends up getting in that conversation. Maybe it's Ivan Demidov who steals the trophy from him. But thoughts in the comments section either way. What are your opinions on Michael Hage and his point production at the World Junior Summer Showcase, and Matthew Schaefer's ability to play hockey being revitalized again and brought back to the forefront in the tourney as well? Thoughts in the comment section below. Habs fans, Isles fans, what are your opinions about your prospects? I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.